Hello, I'm Candid Frank Snishi of Candid Frank Live. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on Candid Frank Live, joining me is, of course, Aaron William Freeland. And, of course, this is Candid Frank Live. I know that sounds like I'm using my name, which I am, but the show's all about talking about what's going on and being very frank. And sometimes I can Aaron on my way. I may make the odd error once in a while. Aaron doesn't. He runs a perfect shop here. He has it all together all the time, never flubs anything. He's always here holding my hand, making sure I don't make any mistakes. For that, I am eternally grateful, Aaron.
You give me far too much credit, Frank, but thank you.
You're welcome. It's sincere.
You almost said that with a straight face.
Almost did it with a straight face. I just ran at the finish line. Oh, Lord. Okay. So anyway, I'm getting prepared for Mom to come for a visit. She's going to be here for two visits for about 3 weeks apiece. And I told you about the 9 steps I have. And today I spent all day doing other things, waiting for the rain to stop because I have to pour a little bit of concrete, as the base for the stairs. Aaron, it's not fun. Let me tell you, it's amazing when you try to do something, and not to be on this, not to be specific onto that subject I'm hitting on. It's tough. We watch athletes, we watch teams, we watch sports, we watch the Montreal Canadiens. You go in thinking, we got a really good shot here, right? And then everything goes sideways. Now, eventually, hopefully, things they end up going right for you. For Montreal, they've gone right for them. And tonight they play another game. And this is, when you're behind 3-0 and then you win one game and you're behind 3-1, every game is critical, right?
Well, at this point in the series, every game is an elimination game. Tampa Bay jumped out to that 3-0 series lead, and now every game is all of a sudden do or die. There is no more room for mistakes. Now, the Habs have found themselves in this situation before, and that would have been back in the first round. So, there's something I take away from this, Frank. As it currently stands, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the only other team so far this playoffs to have beaten Montreal more than twice.
Exactly. Positively true. Factual. But I'm not sure the situation Montreal finds itself in now is relatable to the one against the Maple Leafs. I hearken back to the Islanders series that Tampa Bay played. And then came the game that they needed to win. And they cleaned the Islanders' clock. Remember that?
I certainly do. Now, the other thing that we have to remember going into this as well is that the Lightnings are 6-0 in games lost so far this playoff series. They have not lost 2 in a row since they got swept 4 games straight by Columbus in 2019. And you can almost guarantee that this team will never let something like that happen again.
They have, at the very least, the character. And when we talk about character, it bothers what bothers me more than anything is that we conflate character with talent. Too often people don't understand the difference between character and talent. When it comes to character, for me, character is being able to ignore the noise of a game. If an official is not calling it right, you don't lose your head. That's character. You work harder, you dig deeper, you do things like that. You don't look for excuses, you don't get upset, you move forward. And to be honest, truthfully, I think that's the lesson Tampa Bay learned when they lost against Columbus. I think that's the main lesson they learned, that you can't waste any energy on what doesn't advance you, move you forward, improve your game.
No, and it's this ability to see themselves clear of that sort of thing that has suited them and worked for them so well these past 2 years. So,
and they've done well. And Montreal, and here's, let's not just, we talked a little bit about Montreal, but on in respect of character when it comes to Montreal, they are character mixed in with a lot of what looks like, and I in quotes, looks like good fortune. They're 6-1 in overtime. You talk about being 6-0 after a loss. Montreal is 6-1 in overtime. So they have done enough to win. Today in Tampa Bay, they've got to do that. They literally have to do enough to win. That means Carey Price has to play well enough to deaden the Tampa Bay attack, right? And equal or better so that Montreal could equal or better on the scoreboard. And the goaltender that's playing for Tampa has to look human again.
There's got to be something in the water down there, man. Vasilevsky has been absolutely unreal. Now, I find it interesting. The Canadians so far, these playoffs are 13-8.
Right.
They are 12-2 when they score first, but 1-6 when they don't. And as you also mentioned, they're also 6-1 when it comes to overtimes. The Lightning are 15-7 so far.
One better
15-2 when scoring first, and 0-5 when they don't. So Montreal has to get that first goal.
And 1-4 in overtime. I believe they're 1-4 in overtime, if I remember correctly. I think I saw it was 1-3 before the overtime. So
and that's
So, they've wasted a lot of opportunities. I say that not as a negative, just as an observation that if Montreal can put them in the position where they can waste another opportunity, because when you're up 3-0, losing the next game is wasting an opportunity. Wasting opportunities are something that Montreal has not done, and they have been a participant in their opponents' wasting of opportunities. And, the good fortune that I'm referring to, it's not really about good luck. And if I can, I'm going to take a side. I'm going to go on the side here. There's a parallel in the European Championship, because I have to mention that the Italians won. Forgot to mention it yesterday. The Italians won in penalty kicks. Now, the Italian team, like Montreal, has a great history. You know what I mean? But it's really nice to be the underdog, even if you have a glorious history. One of the reasons why Italy is doing so well is because, honestly, the Italian people don't believe that they can do it. The world has watched them build quite well, over this run leading up to the European Cup and also in the European Cup. But they have done enough to win, and they've done it, through a lot of good defense. Sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar. I know that they won 4-2 yesterday over Spain on penalties. By the way, England closed out Denmark today 2-1. That game just came to full time about 10 minutes ago. So the final is it's Italy-England. So you have a team that hasn't won since 1967 versus a team that thinks that everybody thinks is going to fail, which essentially means it's the Leafs playing themselves. Just to put it into hockey terms.
It's funny because that's, I think you nailed it right there, because I think that's what it's about. You've got two teams who shouldn't be there, or somehow, England has the reputation. You like, folks, how we're switching sports so quickly, but there's such a parallel. This is the beauty of sport, right? England has been a team that has been on the periphery of greatness since 1968. And they have found ways to lose. And you are 100% right when it comes to England as a parallel with the Maple Leafs. They're a very important side in the world. Their fan base is everywhere. Sound familiar? Wherever they play, there's always a fan base following them. The Italians, almost as much. But the Italians right now, they're playing a game, and there's Spinazzola's out, and he is one of their best, on the flank on the left side. Very necessary for them, especially now against England that plays a very energetic game. So, it's great to watch these two teams because they both have fan bases that are waiting for their team to crap the bed. So it's going to be a question of which team craps the bed first. Or will it be, no, you win the game. 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 Because it could be one of those games. Or it could be a game against the two best teams in Europe right now.
Well, all I know for sure is that it's going to be very, very entertaining. So.
Absolutely. So taking it back to the hockey tonight, I've basically said my piece, which is, Carey Price has to be given the opportunity to play great because if we haven't learned anything yet, there may have been a time like against Toronto, even against Winnipeg, where we felt that he dominated the other teams, those two teams. In fact, he did pretty well against Vegas as well. But in this instance, because of the great goaltending on the other side, he needs some help from his team because the offensive ability of the Tampa Bay Lightning is better than they've experienced in the playoffs so far. The defensive capability, I think, is better than they played thus far. And they need to score something that they have scored only enough to win. So they really need to help Carey Price. And how can they help Carey Price? Is they're going to have to figure out how to stop the blue line of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Aaron, I think that's the strength of Tampa, is their blue line.
Oh, I can't disagree with you on that, Frank. Tampa Bay's power up at the point is something that has been plaguing and mystifying and handcuffing Carey Price all series so far. They're getting shots from the point. They're getting big bodies in front. As a matter of fact, at this point, John Cooper's got to be feeling right at home with the way that Tampa has been playing because he's got three players there, Johnson, Killorn, and Palat, that he won the Calder Cup with back in the AHL in 2012 with the Milwaukee Admirals. Those guys are on fire again. And this essentially means that they are even more deadly than they would be without all of their other weapons, being ready to go. So it's this for Tampa Bay to finally pull it off. Everything has to click.
Johnson,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and the unfortunate part is on the flip side, Montreal has to be even better than they've been so far. And I don't know if they can pull that off.
Palat and Johnson, those two players, I think on every NHL team except for maybe 3, maybe 4, could be on the first line.
Yeah, that makes sense. But and they're on the second or third here, so that just goes to show you Tampa's depth.
And that's what you're talking about when you're saying about when we talk about the defense. We're really talking not about the defense. We're talking about the defensemen who are very offensive. They have the super green light. Hedman for sure, and they have the green light. The maturity that defense has, and the real scary part is when you play the Bruins or played the Bruins back in the day. You were worried about Chara, that big defenseman. They have 3. To worry about with size.
Right?
3. So, in Montreal likes to play they like the baggage smash, right? They love to, the physicality. And they can't out physical the Tampa Bay defense. It's just they're that big. I don't think anybody's under 6 feet. I think the shortest guy they got on defense is like 6'1". I'm going off memory, and I'm going back maybe almost even to the regular season, having looked at that stat.
And they've got Victor Hedman back there, who's a nice, healthy 6'5". So
absolutely.
Like what?
And can skate like the wind and shoot like a cannon.
Their defensive, their back end is so offensively talented that it's sickening at times. It makes me jealous and think, why can't we have that? Oh wait, we still need defensive defensemen.
Well, Once they have a general manager, if the Leafs can get a general manager who understands what it's like to be an NHL GM, not a preschool principal, they will do well. And that's the unfortunate thing is I look at the GMs that are in the final, and both of them, while they, the Montreal Bergevin is, to me, honestly, I think he's been the best GM this year, even though Lamoriello got it. But I'm taking into account the playoffs, because the revelation that the Montreal Canadiens are in the playoffs is that they are made for the playoffs. I mean, we see, how well put together they are, and the breaks that you get. They fit the template that I've always believed. I've always believed that you need a team that's really good during the playoffs, and then you got to find a couple of young players other teams don't know, throw them in, and then they got to have a big playoff, right? And then you got to have a goaltender that stands on his head, and you need a bit of luck. And they're typical of teams that do well in the playoffs, that will even win cups, right? They play much better than people thought they could have. And there's a little bit of the underdog in them. That's why I admire Tampa Bay so much, because they're not the underdog and they're playing the way they are.
By the way, if you're looking for another excuse to root for Tampa Bay, their backup goalie is Curtis McElhinney.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's another reason why Andre Vasilevsky needs to be more perfect than perfect.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he's the guy that made that I still don't understand. I guess it's that preschool thing I just spoke about. McElhinney's not here because of the preschool mentality of Kyle Dubas, where he wants to be nice to his students. He wants to be so good. He wants to be liked by his students.
I mean, here's the thing, though. When McElhinney was in Toronto, he had save percentages of .914 and .934. He was not bad.
He was good. What are you talking about? That's when let's not get into the Anderson, we hate you, we think you suck mode here, because he doesn't, and I don't feel that way.
No. I want to just state for the record here.
McElhinney, let's be clear here. Campbell's not the first backup goalie that the Leaf organization had an option to go with the other guy. McElhinney's the other guy, like Campbell, that outplayed Anderson and could have easily been the number one goalie.
Yep. I mean, he played 32 games with the Leafs, and in that time he averaged a .927. And for some reason he got railroaded out of town. And we were left with Hutchinson.
Preschool. The teacher had a favorite, a class pet, and that's the problem with Dubas. He has class pets. He has guys he likes, and everything. Like, here's what Tampa and Montreal do that Toronto doesn't do. So we can welcome in the Leaf fans, and they can start throwing mean letters to me. Here's the difference. I'm going to say this as simply as I can. The Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay team, the Lightning, have created a team that developed out of the needs and the changes that were the hard changes that were needed to be made, that a lot of people, when those changes were made, were questioning the action. New coach, Montreal. Star player, he went bye-bye. He disappeared. Tampa, they have so much talent. Why bring in grit? They don't really need grit. They bring in grit because they realize they needed it. With Toronto, it's different. It's basically let's try to work what we got with what we got and bring in little pieces that might make a difference. The fact is, you got to make the big moves, and the big moves are not preschool moves. It's college, university moves you got to make. The preschool's got to go. It's just an opinion that I have, and it seems harsh. And I wish somebody would make the point to Kyle Dubas. I don't understand. Shanahan's there. Shanahan he's seen the Stanley Cup be won. He knows how it happens. He's been around a long time. He could fill in the gap that obviously, that Dubas has, and in understanding the way the NHL works. I'm not saying that Kyle Dubas is a terrible hockey guy. He's not. He's a great hockey guy, but he's not an NHL guy. He's a guy who's learning about the NHL. Unfortunately, the hard way.
Yeah, that's the key part there. He's not an NHL GM yet. I mean,
Right.
His primary experience has been the AHL and the OHL, and that's great. I love the fact that there are people that are calling for his firing when even people like Burke got many, many more years than he did, and previous general managers who failed abysmally still got more credit for more. And it's because there are a lot of folk out there who don't believe in analytics and don't believe in numbers and don't believe in the number science that they're using to try to come up with this. But at a certain point, you have to wonder when that stops being effective and when you have to start making the big boy moves by bringing in the players that can actually make a material difference for you.
And
I'm saying
yes, and actually turn your back on a key component that is really necessary. It's about care. It's about chemistry, my man. It's about chemistry. But like I said, he's trying to keep a certain group together, and he's trying to find parts that'll make that group work. When really what it should be is he should never look at the narrow. He should look at the, he to me, his view is myopic. It's not, it's not wide, right? Macro. He's not a good macro GM.
Mhm.
Macroly speaking, he's not. He's too stuck with wanting to win his way. There's what I'm looking for. Kyle
Right.
Dubas wants to win his way. Whereas what I saw with Tampa, what I see with Tampa, what I saw with St. Louis, what I see with Montreal is they're going, how do we win? What do we do to win? And they don't look, well, but that guy here, we traded a good Sergachev. We traded him to Tampa, and we brought this guy, this offensive guy. He's not working. He didn't feel at home. He left, but the team got better. That's the whole point. And the Leafs need to have this. All we want to do is win. It doesn't matter who's on the team. The team comes first, not the individuals. And that's what's wrong with Toronto. And that's what will continue to be wrong with Toronto until they figure out that the team comes first.
As we draw towards the last minute of play here, Frank, I wanted to ask you just quickly what you thought about Kotkaniemi getting scratched, Merrill getting scratched, and on the flip side of that, for Tampa Bay, Luke Shen sitting out, and Spencer Martin. Those I think were all
those
decent
were
players.
decisions. Those were all decisions made for the team. And I say this: Kotkaniemi is a great player, but you know that there's something about him that the Montreal organization can't seem that their coach Ducharme is not a big fan of his. Remember he sat him out a couple of games against the Leafs, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think is as far as that's concerned. But I think what the guys that he brought in are guys that have experience and he can believe in. Merrill's a guy that has a lot of experience. That's why he came in. So they decided to bring in experience and commitment, I think. As far as with Tampa Bay is concerned, I think Shen is older, and I think the pace can wear him down, and I think he needed a rest. That's what depth is for. Depth is to ensure, again, not keep the guy in because, I don't want to ruin his. It's like the same thing in reverse that happened with Toronto when they didn't keep the lineup the same after they beat Montreal to make it 3-1. They went and changed the lineup. It's the same logic. Sometimes you need to change things up for various reasons. With Montreal, they wanted to change what was going on. With Tampa Bay, they had a defenseman they thought was tired. Bring a guy in that you're not going to play him a lot anyway. Rotate the 5 that you got with him, and away you go.
Awesome. We'll have to see how it plays out tonight. Game 5 goes at 8:00. Looking forward to it. How about you, Frank?
Oh, hey, I'm there. This is one of the things that in life, these kinds of series, these are memorable series. I really look forward to it. Aaron, thank you so much, buddy.
No problems. Thanks for having me, Frank.
All right. He's Aaron William Freeland. I'm Candid Frank Stanishi. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live. Aaron, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and love it. Well, thank you for watching. Until next time, and that would be